This is Ralph Losey, the director and verifier of Echoes of AI, where the podcasters themselves are AI and they write the podcast, not me.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something that's probably on your radar.
Okay.
Generative AI software specifically designed for the legal field.
Yeah.
And
definitely on my radar.
you're right to be paying attention
Uh-huh.
because this tech is a total game changer.
For sure.
But picking the right tool is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely.
So many options.
Couldn't agree more.
Flooding the market.
So many.
Go now.
Yeah, but remember, not all AI is built the same.
Right.
Especially when it comes to these
Exactly.
very precise and often high-stakes demands
Yes.
of the legal profession.
That's where Ralph Losey's article comes in.
Okay.
He did a brilliant job breaking down how generative AI should be designed
Uh-huh.
specifically for legal work.
I agree.
And get this, he based his insights on a brand new study
Okay.
from the IBM AI team.
Oh, wow.
Those are the folks who developed the 6 new design principles.
Interesting.
He's talking about, so, it's coming from a place of serious credibility.
Yeah, that's huge.
What I find most insightful about Lizzie's take is that he doesn't just stop at explaining these principles.
Yeah.
He goes a step further, giving us a practical guide on
Yeah.
how they should be applied when building AI software for law firms,
Right.
legal departments, government agencies, really anyone in the legal world.
Basically, anyone practicing law.
Yeah, so basically, Lucy's article is like the cheat sheet for any lawyer
Totally.
who's trying to navigate this wild west of generative AI.
Exactly. He's providing a framework for evaluating different AI tools, not just based on
Right.
their flashy features, but on whether they're truly designed to work with lawyers, not just for them.
Okay, so you're used to software that helps you find information.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, generative AI is all about helping you create new legal content.
Okay.
Think drafting contracts, brainstorming arguments, even conducting legal research, but with a whole new level
Wow.
of speed and sophistication.
And this is where those foundation models come in. Yeah.
They're trained on massive data sets,
Yeah.
which allows them to generate content that, honestly,
Wow.
was unimaginable just a few years ago.
So it's not just finding a needle in a haystack. Now the AI can build you a new needle,
Right.
custom designed for the specific case you're working on.
It is amazing.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
It really is. And that's why getting the design right is so critical.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about tools that could potentially revolutionize
I know, it's crazy.
how legal work gets done.
Okay, so let's dive into those design principles, shall we?
Sure.
The first one Lucy highlights is design responsibly,
Okay.
which sounds pretty fundamental.
Yeah.
But what does it actually mean when we're talking about AI for lawyers?
This principle is all about making sure AI tools are ethical, reliable, and genuinely beneficial to legal professionals.
Right.
It means starting with a human-centered approach.
Okay.
We need to understand the specific needs of lawyers, not just focus on developing.
Fancy features that don't actually solve real-world problems.
So it's not about replacing lawyers, it's about giving them superpowers.
Exactly. It's about making them better,
Yeah.
faster, and more effective at what they do.
Right.
Think about all those tedious tasks that eat up a lawyer's time.
Oh,
Like reviewing mountains of documents or researching obscure case law.
yes.
Generative AI can help streamline those tasks, freeing you up to focus
Right.
on the higher level strategic thinking that requires a human touch.
Got it. But legal tech development isn't just about lawyers, right?
Right.
There are developers, product managers,
Sure.
all sorts of stakeholders involved.
Of course.
How do you make sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to building responsible AI?
That's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Lucy points out what he calls value tensions,
Okay.
which basically means that different players often have different priorities. Lawyers, understandably, want accuracy and reliability above all else.
I sense.
Developers might be more focused on innovation, pushing the boundaries of what's technologically possible,
Right.
sometimes even at the expense of those core values that lawyers hold dear.
So how do you bridge that gap?
Right.
How do you get everyone pulling in the same direction?
Lucy suggests using a framework
Okay.
called value-sensitive design.
Interesting.
It's a structured way to identify the values of every stakeholder,
Okay.
understand where those values might clash, and find solutions proactively.
So it's like pre-conflict resolution for legal tech development.
Exactly. And this leads us to another crucial aspect of responsible AI development.
Okay.
Managing emergent behaviors.
Okay, now you've got to explain that one. What does that even mean?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Emergent behaviors are those unexpected things that AI can do, the things that catch you off guard.
Okay.
It's basically the AI going off script.
Oh, wow.
Which, let me tell you, can be both incredibly exciting and a little terrifying when you're talking about legal matters.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm intrigued. Give me an example.
Imagine this.
Okay.
You have an AI drafting tool that suddenly starts arguing against your client's position.
Oh, no.
Because it dug up some obscure case law that seems to contradict your strategy.
Oh, wow.
That's emergent behavior.
Okay.
And it needs to be carefully managed by the software's design to make sure the AI is a helpful partner, not a loose cannon.
So it's about setting boundaries for the AI, making sure it stays within the lines of responsible legal practice.
Right.
And finally, responsible design also means rigorous testing.
Yes.
We need to make absolutely sure the AI isn't going to produce biased or offensive outputs.
Absolutely.
Especially in a field like law, where words have very specific meanings and consequences.
Yes, definitely.
That involves testing against data sets for hate speech and bias. But it also means giving users a clear and easy way to report any problematic content they encounter.
Right.
It sounds like design responsibly is about much more than just checking a box. It's really the foundation for building AI tools that lawyers can trust and rely on.
Absolutely. And that leads us perfectly into the next principle. Design for mental models.
Okay.
Which is all about making sure the AI works in a way that actually makes sense to the lawyers who are using it.
Okay. I'm all ears. Tell me more about this mental model stuff.
Well, lawyers are used to working with deterministic systems, right? You put in the same information, you get the same result every time.
Yes.
But generative AI introduces an element of variability.
Okay.
The same prompt can generate different outputs each time you use it.
Wait, so you're telling me the AI can be unpredictable?
Yes.
That doesn't exactly scream reliability to me.
I hear you. But here's the thing.
Okay.
That variability is actually one of the most powerful aspects of generative AI.
Okay.
It allows the AI to explore different possibilities, come up with creative solutions, and even challenge your assumptions in a way that can be incredibly valuable.
Okay. I'm starting to see the upside here.
Good.
But how do you make sure that variability doesn't turn into chaos?
Right.
Especially in a legal context, where precision is key.
That's where the design comes in. The software needs to be designed in a way that helps users understand and actually leverage this variability.
So how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you design for something that's inherently unpredictable?
One way is by presenting multiple output options, allowing users to compare and contrast and choose the output that best fits their needs. It's also crucial to provide clear explanations about what factors influence the variation. Think of it like giving the lawyer a peek behind the curtain, but they understand how the AI is arriving at its conclusions.
So instead of trying to hide the fact that the AI is generating different responses, you're actually embracing it as part of the user experience.
Exactly. And it's not just about explaining how the variability works. It's also about teaching lawyers how to use it effectively.
Okay, now we're talking... Give me some practical examples. What does that training actually look like?
Well, imagine a contract drafting tool that not only generates clauses, but also provides templates and examples of successful prompts. It guides you on how to specify exactly what you need from the AI.
Got it.
It's like hand-holding, especially in the early stages of adoption. Lawyers need to learn how to craft effective prompts to get the most out of this technology.
It's almost like learning a new language.
Yes.
A way of communicating with the AI to get the best results.
That's a great way to put it. And this is where understanding the user's mental models comes in. We need to design software that aligns with how lawyers already think about their work.
Okay, break that down for me. What do you mean by aligning with their mental models?
Let's say a lawyer sees a legal research tool as a supplement to traditional databases. The software should be designed to highlight that complementary nature, emphasizing how the AI can uncover connections and insights that might be missed through conventional methods. It's about fitting into their workflow, not trying to replace it entirely.
You're meeting them where they are instead of making them learn a whole new way of working?
Precisely. And finally, this principle also emphasizes the importance of personalization.
Okay.
Generative AI has the amazing ability to adapt to individual users.
Interesting.
The software should tailor its responses based on a user's preferences, background, and specific needs.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about how personalization plays out.
It could be something as simple as adjusting the language complexity, but it could also mean providing customized recommendations or even adapting the user interface to fit individual workflows.
Gotcha.
Imagine a legal writing tool that learns from your writing style and starts generating suggestions that sound like you wrote them.
That would be incredible. It's like having a ghostwriter who knows exactly how you think.
Exactly.
It sounds like this principle is all about making the AI feel less like a piece of technology and more like an extension of the lawyer's own expertise.
You nailed it. It's about creating a truly collaborative partnership between the lawyer and the AI.
That's cool.
A partnership built on trust, understanding, and a shared goal of achieving the best possible legal outcomes.
You've covered a lot of ground here.
I know.
We haven't even gotten to the other 4 principles yet.
We'll get there.
This is already making me rethink how I approach legal tech.
That's the point of this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about new features. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we think about the role of technology in the legal profession.
This is fascinating stuff.
It is. All right, let's jump back into those IBM design principles.
Okay.
We've talked about how generative AI needs to be designed responsibly.
All right.
And in a way that fits how lawyers already think. But there's another crucial element, trust. That's why principle number 3, design for appropriate trust and reliance, is so important.
Makes sense. Trust is everything in the legal profession, right?
It is.
But how do you build trust in an AI system?
Right.
It's not like you can just take its word for it.
You can't.
You need proof.
Exactly, and that's where transparency comes in.
Okay.
Losey highlights the need for what he calls source traceability.
Okay.
Which is just a fancy way of saying you need to be able to see exactly where the AI is getting its information.
Gotcha.
It's like a chain of custody for data.
Okay.
But instead of tracking evidence, we're tracking the information that's feeding the AI's decision-making process.
So if I'm using an AI for legal research, I should be able to see whether it's pulling information from reputable legal databases or just some random website.
Precisely, you need to be able to trace the information back to its source to assess whether it's reliable and relevant to your case.
Makes sense.
And it's not enough to just show the sources. The AI should also be able to explain why it reached a certain conclusion.
Oh, okay.
Think of it like showing its work.
It's like having the AI justify its reasoning so you can make sure it's not making leaps in logic or relying on faulty assumptions.
Exactly. And if the AI can't explain itself, that's a huge red flag.
This is making me think about all those legal dramas where the lawyer is grilling a witness on the stand. Now it's like we need to be able to cross-examine the AI.
I love that.
To make sure its conclusions hold up under scrutiny.
I love that analogy. You hit the nail on the head.
Thanks.
We as lawyers are trained to be skeptical, to question everything. And that same critical mindset needs to be applied to AI tools as well.
But isn't there a risk that lawyers will become over-reliant on AI?
That's a good point.
Even if it's well-designed and transparent, won't they stop thinking critically and just blindly accept whatever the AI spits out?
That's a valid concern, and Losey addresses it directly. He argues that good design actually means building in features that encourage critical evaluation, even if that means adding a bit of friction to the user experience.
What do you mean by that? Are we talking about making the AI harder to use?
Not exactly. It's more about adding subtle prompts and nudges that encourage users to slow down, think things through, and not just take the AI's output at face value.
Gotcha.
For example, the software could require users to manually confirm or edit AI-generated suggestions. Or it could present alternative options alongside the AI's primary recommendation.
So it's about making sure lawyers stay in the driver's seat. Reminding them that they're still the ones making the ultimate decisions.
Right. And the final point Losey makes about building trust is the importance of clarifying the AI's role. Is it a research assistant? A drafting tool? A brainstorming partner? Setting clear expectations up front is essential for building that foundation of trust. And making sure you're using the tool effectively.
Okay, so we've talked about responsible design,
Right.
understanding mental models, and building trust.
Right.
What's next on Losey's list?
Let's move on to principle number 4.
Okay.
Design for generative variability.
Okay.
Remember how we were talking about how generative AI can be a bit unpredictable?
Yeah.
This principle dives even deeper into that concept.
We already talked about variability.
We did touch on it, but this principle takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging that variability is baked into the DNA of generative AI.
Okay.
And the software needs to be designed to embrace and even leverage that variability.
Okay. I'm following so far. But can you give me some concrete examples of how this principle would actually play out?
Sure.
In a legal AI tool?
Mm-hmm.
How do you design for something that's inherently variable?
One way is by providing visual cues that help users quickly compare different outputs.
Right.
This could involve highlighting changes between drafts, color coding outputs based on confidence levels, or even using visualizations to show the distribution of different outputs.
So it's about making the variability more transparent, easier to understand.
Right.
And ultimately more useful to the lawyer.
Precisely. And it also means providing more training and support to help lawyers understand how to work with this variability, how to refine their prompts to get better results, how to evaluate the different outputs and choose the best one for their specific needs.
I'm starting to see how these principles all build on each other.
Yes.
It's not enough to just have a powerful AI.
Right.
You need to design the software in a way that makes that power accessible and usable to lawyers.
Exactly. Now let's move on to principle number 5.
Okay.
Design for co-creation.
Okay.
This one really gets to the heart of the partnership between lawyer and AI.
I love that concept. Tell me more about co-creation.
It starts with the understanding that AI-generated content is rarely the final product. Lawyers need to be able to easily edit, refine, and adapt the output to fit their specific needs, their client's instructions, and the specific legal precedents they're working with.
So it's not about the AI taking over.
Right.
It's about the AI and the lawyer working together side by side to create something better.
That's the idea.
Than either of them could do alone.
The software should offer robust co-editing features that allow lawyers to seamlessly tweak AI-generated text, adjust parameters to fine-tune the output, and even manipulate charts and images if necessary.
Can you paint me a picture? Give me a real-world example of what this co-creation would look like in action.
Imagine a contract drafting tool where you can easily revise specific clauses, making them more aggressive or cooperative, or incorporating additional provisions based on your client's feedback.
Gotcha.
It's about making the AI a truly collaborative partner in the drafting process.
That would be a game changer. Especially for complex contracts.
It would be.
Where you have to juggle so many different factors and stakeholder interests.
Right.
And what about the prompts themselves?
Yes.
Is there a way to design the software to help lawyers write better prompts?
Absolutely.
And get more accurate and relevant results?
The principle of co-creation also emphasizes the importance of guiding effective prompt crafting. This could involve interactive tools that help you define your needs, specify the desired characteristics of the output, and refine your prompts to get the most relevant and useful results.
So it's almost like the AI is teaching you how to communicate with it effectively.
Yes.
It's like a two-way street where both sides are learning and adapting to create better outcomes.
It's about empowering lawyers to get the most out of the AI by becoming better prompt engineers.
We're down to the last principle, design for imperfection. Now this one sounds counterintuitive. Why would you intentionally design for imperfection? Shouldn't we be striving for perfection, especially in the legal field?
You'd think so, right? But here's the reality. Even the most sophisticated AI is still going to make mistakes. And it's important to be upfront about that, to manage expectations, and to design software that encourages users to be critical and cautious.
So it's about acknowledging the limitations of AI and making sure lawyers don't fall into the trap of thinking it's a magic bullet that can solve every problem.
Exactly. This means being transparent about uncertainty, using clear disclaimers and highlighting potential areas where errors might occur. For example, a legal research tool might use color coding to indicate the confidence levels of different sources. Or a drafting tool might flag potential inconsistencies or contradictions in the text.
That makes sense. It's like having a built-in safety net.
Exactly.
That helps lawyers catch those potential pitfalls before they turn into real problems.
And it's not just about spotting errors. It's about giving users a way to improve the output.
Yeah.
Through feedback. This could be as simple as editing tools.
Right.
But it could also involve the option to regenerate outputs with different parameters.
Okay.
Or even the ability to suggest alternative outputs based on user feedback.
So it's about creating a continuous feedback loop.
Right.
Where the AI is constantly learning and getting better based on input from the lawyers who are actually using it in the field.
Precisely. And that brings us to the final point Losey makes
about
designing for imperfection.
Okay.
Legal tech companies need to do more than just collect user feedback.
Okay.
They need to actively listen to it
and
use that feedback to make their products better.
That sounds obvious. Yeah. But I'm sure there are plenty of companies out there who are better at collecting feedback.
I'm sure.
Than they are at actually acting on it.
You're not wrong. Too often, user feedback gets lost in the shuffle.
Right.
And users are left feeling like their voices aren't being heard.
Yeah.
Losey suggests building in mechanisms like in-app feedback buttons, automated surveys, and regular user forums to make sure those valuable insights are making their way back to the developers who can actually implement them.
So it's about creating a genuine dialogue between the developers and the users.
Yeah.
A collaboration that ultimately benefits everyone involved.
Exactly. And without that dialogue, without that commitment to continuous improvement, legal professionals will inevitably look for tools that actually do meet their needs.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
It has been.
We've covered a lot of ground here, and I'm already thinking about how these principles can be applied to other areas of legal tech, not just generative AI.
I agree. These principles are really about designing any technology in a way that's human-centered, responsible, and ultimately empowering for the people who use it.
It's clear that choosing the right AI tool is about more than just ticking off boxes on a features list.
Right.
It's about understanding the underlying design principles and making sure they align with the unique needs and values of the legal profession.
Absolutely. And I think that's the perfect segue into Losey's final point.
Okay.
His call to action.
Okay.
Both for legal tech companies and for legal professionals.
Okay. I'm all ears. What does Losey want us to do with all this knowledge we've gained?
He's essentially challenging both sides to step up their game.
Okay.
He wants legal tech companies to prioritize responsible, human-centered design and to truly listen to the feedback they're getting from their users.
Right.
And he's urging legal professionals to become more discerning consumers, to ask the tough questions about how these AI tools are designed and whether they truly meet their needs.
So it's about creating a more collaborative and transparent environment where AI can really flourish in the legal field.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that AI is not a threat, it's a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It's up to us collectively to ensure that it's used in a way that benefits everyone involved.
This has been an amazing deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about generative AI.
I agree.
And its potential to transform the legal world. But before we wrap up, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Losey focuses on design principles.
Yeah.
But what about specific features?
Right.
What would you prioritize in a generative AI tool for your practice?
That's a great question, and one that I think every legal professional should ask themselves.
For sure.
Personally, I'd be looking for a tool that excels at legal research,
Okay.
but one that also allows me to easily verify the accuracy of its findings and integrate those findings into my existing workflow.
Makes sense.
I'd also want a tool that can adapt to my specific practice area and learn from my past work to provide even more personalized recommendations.
Those are all great points. And what about you? What features would be at the top of your list?
For me, the most important thing would be transparency. I want to be able to understand how the AI is reaching its conclusions and have the ability to question those conclusions, refine them, and ultimately make sure they align with my own knowledge and experience.
Right.
It's about having a healthy skepticism even when you're working with a really powerful AI.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Transparency is key.
Absolutely.
I think we both agree on that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So transparency is at the top of our list.
Okay.
But I'd also love a tool that could help me with legal writing.
Yeah.
Something that could generate first drafts of briefs or contracts. Even just bullet points for an argument.
Okay.
That would be a huge time saver.
I think that's a feature many lawyers would appreciate.
Definitely. This has been an incredibly informative deep dive.
It has.
Big thanks to Ralph Losey and the IBM researchers
Yes.
for giving us this framework for thinking about generative AI
Yes.
in the legal field.
Absolutely. They've given us the tools to become more informed consumers and to advocate for AI that's designed to meet the unique needs of the legal profession.
And of course, thank you for joining us on this journey.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned as much as we have about generative AI.
Yes.
And how it's poised to revolutionize legal work.
It really is a game changer.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something huge here. This isn't just about incremental improvements to how we practice law.
I agree.
Generative AI has the potential to fundamentally reshape the entire legal landscape.
I completely agree, and that's why Losey's article is so valuable. It's not just a theoretical exploration of AI design principles. It's a call to action for anyone who wants to be a part of shaping this technological revolution in a way that benefits the legal profession as a whole.
So we've talked about the design principles, the importance of transparency, and the need for collaboration between developers and legal professionals. But if you had to distill it down to one key takeaway for our listener, what would it be?
I think the most important thing is to remember that generative AI is a tool. It's a powerful tool, but it's still just a tool.
Right.
It's up to us, the humans, to decide how that tool is used.
Right.
To set the boundaries, to guide its development, and to ultimately ensure that it's used in a way that upholds the values and ethics of the legal profession.
That's such a powerful point. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, to be dazzled by the potential of AI.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the humans who are still in control. We're the ones who have to make the decisions to exercise our judgment and to ensure that justice is served.
Exactly. And that's why it's so crucial for legal professionals to be informed.
Yes.
To understand the technology, to be aware of its limitations, and to be actively involved in shaping its evolution.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've gone from feeling intimidated by generative AI to feeling excited about its possibilities. And most importantly, I feel empowered to ask the right questions, to make informed decisions about which AI tools to adopt and to use those tools in a way that enhances my practice and benefits my clients.
And that's what we were hoping for. We want to empower you, the listener.
Yes.
To embrace this new era of legal technology with confidence and a critical eye.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of generative AI for legal professionals. We hope this conversation has sparked your curiosity.
It's been great.
Challenged your assumptions and given you a framework for navigating.
It has been a pleasure diving deep with you.
This exciting and rapidly evolving landscape. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
Absolutely.
And keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of law and technology.